A major disadvantage of gene therapy is that we don't completely know how to control the viruses that are used to insert the correct genetic material into the targeted cell. What this means is that the viruses sometimes attack the wrong cells and may trigger genetic mutation, which can result in the development of new disorders in that person's body.
The cause of new mutations stirs a lot of backfire on gene therapy all around the world, and causes a lot of controversy questioning whether it is truly a treatment or the cause of greater problems in the genome of species. Many activists and social movements fight against the use of gene therapy, stating that it creates more problems than it solves, quote unquote, playing God.
Another major disadvantage of gene therapy is that it is first tested on animals to compensate for human test trials. Gene therapy has been used on animals increasingly due to the recent advances in genetics within the last 30 years or so. These trials have killed more than 1 million animals over those years. Although animal testing is a precautionary measure taken to ensure that gene therapy for a specific disorder or disease is safe for humans, about 56% of the time the therapy has proven a failure when used on human trials. A very tragic example of this would be the case of Jesse Gelsinger, who died after 4 days of clinical trials. In regard to animal testing, probably the biggest debate in the world, large organizations such as Paris drive against any form of testing on animals, especially genetic testing. In the case of gene therapy, the rate of success are so low that these organizations ask why test on animals when the testing on humans just proved as ineffective as animal cruelty.
Overall, gene therapy has a very great potential to cure many diseases in the world, but in its early stages, the disadvantages outweigh the advantages. In terms of understanding how genetics work, let alone change how they function, our knowledge is very far from perfect. Gene therapy has been successful in curing smaller disorders due to their less complexity, but lacks the ability to cure greater and more complex diseases and disorders, such as cystic fibrosis, many types of cancer, genetic syndromes, and many other genetic problems. In our opinion, the reason gene therapy is inadequate as a cure is due to the reason that despite the many trials on animals, human trials fail 66% of the time. Only 1 out of 3 people is successfully cured, and the other 2 face severe genetic changes or are simply unaffected by the treatment. A tragic example of this would be the case of Jesse Gelsinger, an 18-year-old boy who died 4 days after being given gene therapy treatment to cure his OTC deficiency. His body reacted very violently to the adenovirus vector that was injected into his bloodstream. The vector had attacked his liver cells instead of targeting the blood cells, and caused his liver to completely shut down, followed by the rest of his internal organs. Jesse's case is one of many where clinical trial patients have died due to a complication in gene therapy, despite the therapy being thoroughly tested on animals before any human testing is conducted. In conclusion, we believe that gene therapy is still growing and it needs more time to be effective. For now, it should not be provided or given to patients without knowing the full extent of its effects or without perfecting the technique. We hope you learned something about gene therapy today, and thank you for your time.
Created using powtoon.